Hi guys. In a normal year, I'd be giving this presentation during the banquet and we'd be sitting face to face and talking and enjoying our moment with each other. But now I'm forced to do this 2020 season review by video, which I find sterile and a little unfulfilling, but I'm going to give it my best shot. I've thought a lot about what I wanted to say about the season, and I think I'll stick by what I told the Daily Progress. This season was a spectacular success. Some of our highlights: we finished 15-1. We only dropped 6 of our 48 sets. Jefferson District champions yet again. Region champions for the first time since 2008, and boy, what a finish that was. First time in my career I've ever had to win the same game twice, right? I have it on good authority that there's video evidence that shows our celebration was not premature, but more on that later. This would have been an outstanding year in a normal season. With COVID, the false starts, the quarantining, the crunched games, smashed 3 games a week. It's nothing short of miraculous what you guys accomplished. I've got a lot of favorite memories. That region championship is certainly one that I'm going to treasure for a long time. But if I had to pick one special moment, it was the day after the region championship when we all got smoothies and went for a walk outside, basically taking a victory lap around all the sports fields at Albemarle and receiving standing ovations from the various teams that were practicing that day. I was super happy and content, but I remember at the same time I was a little wistful because I was thinking this was one of our few remaining moments together as a group, that the seniors would be graduating shortly and we wouldn't have too many more moments like this. So it was a little bittersweet for me. Before I go too much further in talking about the season, I want to take a moment to salute the parents for their support, welcoming me as the new guy. And I know I'll risk leaving some specific people off, but I am going to name specific names. I'm going to talk about Heidi Figler. I want to thank you for your senior night coordinator activities. Matt Winterhoff, your duty as Twitter master, it was fantastic. You had those lively and informational write-ups that gave people who weren't actually at the matches a feeling for what we were achieving. Keith Roach, unrewarding job of team statistician, but they were great tools for the coaches to use. And it was also really neat to have something to give to the press right away, right after the matches were over. I want to thank the Dawsons for hosting the post-season picnic at their home. That's coming up in a couple days, and I'm really looking forward to it, seeing my team in person again. I want to thank Heidi and Anika Winterhoff and Gwen Dawson for spearheading the organizing of that event. I know it takes a lot to get that, can't call it a banquet, picnic together. And I really want to give a special recognition to Mr. Rick Oust for his photography and video work. Incredible. It's always one of the treasures I know that a lot of us bring back from the season that helps us remember what a great time we had. I'm really looking forward to seeing his video, as I know the rest of you are. I want to give a shout out to the managers, Presley, Carly, Lena. You guys were there for us in practice and at matches, and in many ways were our biggest supporters. My assistant coach, Jack. I know you've had coaching experience up until now, but I feel like this year you really discovered your coaching voice. You were a great help to me, great sounding board, often had great suggestions about what we should be doing, and probably most importantly, were a great help to the individual players. And I'm really looking forward to collaborating with you again next season. Last but not least, I want to thank my wife, Joan, who cheerfully assumed the role of volleyball widow for yet one more season. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the 13 players who made up this remarkable team and the individual contributions they made to make this year so special, and then I'm going to be handing out some awards. First, I'm going to talk about the sophomores, or what I like to say, the sophomore sorority, sort of like the Justice League without the capes and latex. That's how I like to think of them. The first sophomore I'm going to talk about is Maggie Tules. Maggie, I remember it like it was yesterday when we discovered that Fran couldn't make it to our home opener because of a possible COVID exposure. And I had confidence that you would step up and fill her shoes, and it turned out my confidence was not misplaced. That night, we got a small taste of what you're capable of. You're quick, you got great reaction time, and you're developing into one of the more reliable passers and defenders. In coming up with an award for you, I felt like I had to find something that paid tribute to both your nimble speed, but also addressed the fact that I've never seen your face. So let me see. Has quick feline reflexes and wears a mask hiding her identity. There's only one award that you could possibly earn, and that's the Catwoman Award. As you can see, guys, I made these myself, so pardon the crude nature of the awards. Wei Ning, you and your fellow sophomore sorority sister, Cece Smith, how's that for alliteration, served as my unofficial social media, teen slang, and general fashion monitors. So thank you for all your help, I think. Anyway, Wei Ning, I knew you made varsity as a 9th grader, and the instant I started working with you, I could see why. You're a natural leader, you've got an amazing vertical jump, you've got a real cannon for an arm, and you're a threat from both the front row and the back row. It's really unfortunate that an injury cut your season short this year. Needless to say, though, I'm expecting big things from you over the next 2 years, which really brings me to your award. Possibly the only good thing to come out of your injury is that the rest of the area teams really don't have any idea of who you are. They're thinking we've graduated all of our talent and totally unaware of what you're capable of. So that's why I've decided to give you the Secret Weapon Award. Cece, this year for you was sort of a good news, bad news thing, right? The good news is you earned a spot on varsity. The less good news is that you're behind the best setter in the district, region, or possibly state. But you've done such a good job as being the understudy this year. I can already tell you're going to lead this team next season and be a dynamic force for us. I'm thankful for all the cultural and fashion advice you've given me. If it hadn't been for you, I'd probably go the rest of my life without knowing the meaning of the expressions drippy and purr. I'm not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Anyway, in coming up with your award, I studied the way you throw yourself into a game. You dive into your duties and plunge into your responsibilities. And it became clear to me that there's only one award that could possibly describe your contributions. And that is the Trippiest Patriot Award. I feel like I should have a laugh track on these things. Anyway, Sophia Bombardieri, Bomba, Chef, great nicknames. I knew it was bound to happen someday, but this is the first time I've ever coached a player and her mother, not at the same time. Not surprisingly, Bomba, your mother was a tough-as-nails defensive specialist, and it seems the skill is hereditary. What I like most about your story, Bomba, is that it's another she stepped up to the plate success story. Over spring break, we suddenly needed some extra defensive help, as we faced two of our biggest rivals, Monticello and Western, both away. We converted you from an outside hitter into a defensive specialist, and you stepped in and you came through big time for us. You gave us the necessary ball control to sweep both opponents in straight sets. So anyway, your award sort of wrote itself. Some of us only get one cool nickname our entire life. You've already got two, so you get the Best Nicknames Award. Now we're on to the juniors. A very small class, but a very powerful class. Julie Niehaus. I think you're about the most agreeable, upbeat volleyball player I've ever coached. Your positive energy and earnest love of the game and love of your teammates has really made this season a joy for me. You've been a fantastic defensive standout for us, particularly in serve-receive. I know you don't get any of the glory that the big hitters do, but you've been just as important, and in some ways more important, to our success. Your work rate has always impressed me. I've got a little confession to make. When I first interviewed for the job at Albemarle last year, I started scouting around Cav, trying to find the Albemarle players that I didn't know much about and see if I could kind of get some intel on them. And I went up to your coach and I asked if I could borrow you to join one of my practices so I could get a sneak peek of what I could expect. Let's just say I was impressed. Anyway, your positive energy has earned you the Miss Congeniality Award. Our next junior is Maddie Ott. Maddie, you're the first player in my coaching career who's made my varsity team without actually having to try out. Obviously, your injury prevented you from taking the court during tryouts, but I'd watched you enough during the summer leagues and during the 2019 club season to know that I wanted you on my team. You were such a great supporter this year. You came to every practice and helped out, and you lent your voice and your energy to all of our matches. I know your spirit energized everyone, and you were certainly the most enthusiastic cheerleader on the bench. Indeed, rumor has it that you may have led that ill-fated court charge in the regional championship. But frankly, I don't know and I don't care. I love your enthusiasm, and that's why you're getting the Top Cheerleader Award. Speaking of big name hitters, what can I say about Maya Winterhoff that you haven't already read about in the numerous press clippings and television interviews? Maya, you're one of our captains, but I think your biggest leadership contribution came in shouldering the high expectations we had for you. We relied on you heavily all season long, and you handled that pressure admirably. I don't want to just cite a bunch of statistics when talking about you, Maya, but a few words here are in order. You're currently second in all-time blocks, 7th in kills, 5th in serving percentage, 96.8%, 5th in hitting percentage, 0.423%, and you're 7th in the passer rating. If we get anything like a normal season next year, you're sure to jump to the front of the line in blocks and kills. Most memorable for me are your 38 kills in our region victory over Mountain View. That program set a program and area-wide record and also has you tied for 5th all-time in VHSL history for most kills in a match. Except most of those other players did it in 5-set matches and you did it in 4. And you're only 7 kills off the all-time single game record. It's little wonder the press was always eager to get an interview with you after our matches. And anyway, Maya, and that feature sort of brings us to your award, which is both an award and, I guess, burden, in that you are voted the most likely to be hounded by the paparazzi. It brings me to the seniors, pardon me for... Seniors, I can't say enough good things about you guys. You set the tone for expectations and behavior on the team, and you had a clear vision of what our goals needed to be. You're also really interesting people, and I just wish we had several more seasons together to get to know each other better. The first individual I want to talk about is Fran. Fran, to say you are a respected leader on the team is a total understatement. It isn't any surprise that you're one of our captains. You're the heart and soul of not only our defense and serve-receive, but also our team culture. You've modeled good behavior and good work ethic at all times. I still marvel at how you struggled with painful shin splints all season, but always managed to show up strong on game day for us. You led the team in digs, and you had one of the top 3 passing ratings. You did a great job of keeping the ball off the floor, often sacrificing your body with those nice little dolphin dives, and you gave us those in-system passes that got our offense rolling. You got 160 digs on the year, and the one thing that really sticks out in my mind, I guess, is your 10 digs in Game 4 against Mountain View, because it really helped us settle down and win the match at a time when everything could have gone horribly wrong. Because of the nimble and agile way you move around the court, you are receiving the Net Ninja Award. Sophia Dawson, you are the 2 in the 1-2 punch offense we ran this year. I always liked it. Just when teams they thought they'd figured out Maya, they found out that they had to figure out you as well. Your explosive attacks from both the front and back row and your rocket serves were a major part of our high-octane offense. Not surprisingly, you led the team in aces with 40, and you averaged a little over an ace per game. You were also a solid anchor for us on defense and in serve-receive, and you were second only to Fran in defensive digs and had one of the top passer ratings on the team. But perhaps my favorite quality about you is that you're the most animated and passionate player I think I've ever coached. As I noted at your signing ceremony, if players like Fran and Kira are the calm eye of the hurricane, you're the hurricane itself, raining misery down on our opponents with your slashing attacks and jump serves. One of my fondest memories of you is when we first met. You broke my classes during the club season with a hard, wild hit that hit me in the side of the head and sent my glasses flying, even though I wasn't standing anywhere near the court. And I remember saying to myself, this girl's got power and potential. She's going to be a dynamic force for some lucky high school coach someday. Little did I realize that lucky high school coach would be me. I love your direct, hard-charging approach to both volleyball and life, and I love the way you always make your presence known on the volleyball court. And that's why your award is Best Vocal Performance. I want to talk a little bit about our middles, a really unappreciated part of the volleyball squad. They're sort of like the offensive linemen in football. They're critical to your success, but you only really notice them when they make a mistake. Did they get in the net, block a ball out of bounds, hit a ball into the net, things like that. If they do their job, you hardly notice. If they channel the hitter to our strongest passer, you hardly know to attribute that to the middle blocker. Anyway, I want to talk about Trinity first. Trinity, you finished your career tied for 6th in Albemarle volleyball history in career service percent with a 94.5% rate. That's incredible for anyone, let alone a middle who most people think don't know how to play the back row. You weren't our tallest middle, but I think what you lack in height, and you more than made up for with athleticism, agility, and mobility. You were 3rd on the team in hitting percentage, and you were really good at running the slide, which, as you know, is one of my favorite offensive attacks for middles. You had an awesome performance on senior night, which was also our home opener. You tallied 6 kills, 3 aces, and 15 service points, and if I'm not mistaken, you even got a press interview after the game. Anyway, I sort of always liked your low-key, hard-working approach to volleyball. So for your award, I ended up turning to the X-Men for inspiration and decided that you get the Quiet Storm Award. You're calm on the outside, but poised to wreak havoc, or dare I say a storm, on our opponents. Mo, I'm glad you decided that you wanted to finish out your senior year as a volleyball player. You were a great asset to our team this year. It's been a pleasure getting to know you both as a player, but also as a thoughtful, interesting person who loves the First Amendment almost as much as I do. You posted solid numbers in both the front and back row for us. At the net, you finished 4th on the team in total blocks, 4th in hitting percentage, and 5th in total kills. But one of my favorite things about you is your analytical focus on the game and your ability to cope with out-of-system chaos. It seems that there were always these crazy plays where the ball's pinging around, and I would look up and see that you would twist and somehow manage to get the ball landing on the opponent's side of the net. That's really a valuable asset. Another interesting thing I did learn about you this year, though, if I'm ever in an online brawl with an internet troll, particularly on issues involving the First Amendment, I definitely want you on my side. And that's why I'm giving you the Keyboard Warrior Award. Emma, our last middle. You've been a standout middle for us. You always connected well with the setter, particularly when hitting the quick set to either of the corners. I think that was one of your major strengths offensively. Statistically, you were second in hitting percentage. Only Maya scored higher. And you were third in total kills. A couple of times we moved you to other positions when injuries left us shorthanded, and you adapted to those changes very nicely. When it came to your award, I admit I might be projecting a little bit because I always like to think that you're kind, sociable, and playful on the outside, but a little hard-boiled and maybe a tad cynical on the inside. So that's why I'm giving you the Classy but Sassy Award. Maybe you can use some of these catchphrases in the future. I don't know. Laney Haas. Laney, you began your career as a setter, and can I be honest with you? I was a little underwhelmed. So I was delighted that you found your niche as a right side and excellent server. You were second on the team in blocks and even managed to collect 39 digs despite limited back row play. But it was at the service line that you demonstrated your special superpowers. You had 26 aces, which was third on the team, and led the team in points scored on serve with 128, which means you were often throwing the other team out of system. My statisticians tell me that you finished your career at number 3 in all-time service percentage with a 96.2% rate. I love your quirky humor, and it always seemed to me like you were the first, sometimes the only player who understood my ridiculously geeky jokes. And I'm not sure that's something you want to brag about. Anyway, I guess I'll always remember your phenomenal ability to multitask. When I watched in amazement as you were able to serve aces and verbally joust with hecklers at the same time. Anyway, your award focuses on yet another skill of yours. Anybody who's watched you help the officials with their ball handling calls will know what I'm talking about when I give you the Best Official Without a Whistle award. Kira Roach. Kira, our volleyball collaboration goes back a long time. I had no idea when I coached you as an 8th grader in club that we'd end up on the same road together here 4 years later as you close out your high school season. I use the word collaboration intentionally, as you know, because I feel like we've been true partners on this long journey. And I'm going to miss discussing with you our strategy and tactics both before, during, and after matches. Your statistical legacy is an impressive one. First in career aces, third in service points with 699. I guess that's also 7th in the Virginia High School League record book. 4th in digs, and 5th in assists with over 1,400, which is really impressive given that you weren't always the starting setter and you suffered from an injury through one of those seasons. I'd be remiss if I didn't single out your standout performance in the region championship, where you tallied 46 assists. Your cool delivery under pressure in Game 4 helped us weather that unpleasant storm, as I mentioned before. There was a strong potential for everything to go wrong, and your calm execution was really amazing. I'd also be remiss if I didn't praise your skill as an attacking setter, with those cheeky little tips, pushes, dinks, and dunks. By the way, I love that expression, cheeky. It's used in English soccer all the time to describe a little daredevil bit of skill that leaves everyone saying, oh my gosh, I can't believe they just did that. So Kira, it's only fitting that you receive the Cheekiest Patriot Award. I've got a couple of extra awards here to give. The players and coaches voted on 2 of them, and on the third one, I made the decision myself. The first award I want to talk about that we voted on is called Most Improved, but I really don't like Most Improved. It sounds kind of like a consolation prize. It sounds like you're saying, well, you didn't stink as much as we expected you would. But the award really should read, met and exceeded the potential we all knew was there. Using that definition, the players and coaches voted as most improved this year Sophia Bombigieri. The voting for MVP is similar in my book, in that it's difficult to isolate just one person who was most valuable, particularly on a team like ours where so many people had roles to play and played them to perfection. To say that one person was more valuable than the rest is a little difficult. And that difficulty this year was reflected in the voting. The players and coaches' votes came to a dead tie between two candidates for MVP. And I refused to break that tie and decided this year instead that we would award co-MVPs. And our co-MVPs for the 2020 season are Kira and Maya. And I think that should come as little surprise to anybody. So we've got 2 MVP plaques. I'll bring them to the Dawsons. My hat's off to you guys. You did a great job this season. The last award, I took recommendations from the other players and coaches, but I chose it myself. And I don't choose necessarily the leader in statistics, but the person I choose for this award, the Coaches Award, is someone whose heart, grit, selflessness, character are beyond reproach. And I think everyone can agree that there's one person on our team that meets those criteria. And that person is Fran. Congratulations, Fran. You get the Coaches Award. I also want to point out at this point that the All Jefferson District team was just announced by scrimmage play, and we put 5 players on the squad. We have 3 players on the first team, Maya, Kira, Sophia, and we have 2 on the second team, Fran and Emma. I'm certain we deserved more than that, but it's not always our choice who votes for us. It's also gives me great pleasure to announce that Maya was named Player of the Year for volleyball, which I haven't tracked it specifically, but I only think a junior has won Player of the Year a couple of times since I've been around. Anyway, I want to talk briefly about the song You'll Never Walk Alone. Full disclosure, this is the anthem of the English soccer team Liverpool, and I'm a big fan of that club. And the reason I'm a big fan is all the fans sing it to the team before, during, and after the game, regardless of result, to signal their love and support of the players. It comes from a Rodgers and Hammerstein New York Broadway tune, and it's pretty sappy, but that's why I love it. To me, it captures perfectly the essence of the communal experience that is team sports. And it seemed particularly relevant for us in all the hurdles we faced this year. And if you'd bear with me, I'd like to recite the lyrics. I won't sing the song, God no, but I want to recite the lyrics and just listen to the message. When you walk through a storm, hold your head up high and don't be afraid of the dark. At the end of the storm, there's a golden sky and the sweet silver song of the lark. Walk on through the wind, walk on through the rain, though your dreams be tossed and blown. Walk on, with hope in your heart, and you'll never walk alone. You'll never walk alone. It doesn't promise you that you'll never face adversity. It doesn't promise that you'll always win if you just work hard. It doesn't promise that you won't suffer setbacks. It says if you hold your head up and keep moving forward through the tough times, you will always have the support of those closest to you. And guys, that really sums up the way I feel about this team and the memories we created this season. I love all you guys, and I want you to know that no matter where you are the rest of your lives, you'll never walk alone.
When you walk through a storm, hold your head up high and don't be afraid of the dark. stone. There's a gold